Welcome back to the Real Teachers of Atlanta. Please make sure that you like and subscribe. We are on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We're also on Threads. So make sure that you check us out, like and subscribe, leave a comment. We would love to hear from you. I am Joya, and to my right,
I'm Nikki.
And we also have
Ty.
Let's get to it. So today we are going to be talking about school lunches, breakfast, snacks. School nutrition, is it actually helping students or is it making them crazy? Let's get to it.
We got the queens in the house, y'all.
I am Mrs. P. Smith, the Mama Bear at school, your favorite ELA and SPED teacher, but always teaching my students about business.
I'm Miss Rose, commonly known as the snarky teacher, always ready with the good candy. The kids say I'm their favorite math teacher.
After school, it's lights, camera, action. During school hours, it's Miss Carter, the life science teacher saving lives.
We got the queens in the house, y'all.
Real Teachers of Atlanta. Ladies, do you all remember lunches when you all were in school?
Yep.
Okay, what were they like? Let's start with breakfast.
Okay. So I will say high school.
Okay.
We'll talk high school. So my high school breakfast was, we used to have like a Mexican pizza.
Okay.
Okay. Like a Mexican breakfast pizza and had like gravy and like sausage on it. I used to think that was amazing. I don't know why, but I did. Great. And they're, like white, like sausage gravy.
Oh, like the white,
like
sauce.
White,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe it's not Mexican pizza, but it's like a breakfast pizza.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And it used to be big. I remember not even being able
gravy on the pizza.
Yeah, it was like a breakfast pizza. I kid you not.
They didn't have white gravy.
It was like the
sauce for the pizza. So instead of red sauce, it was white sauce, but it was like it's supposed to be like the breakfast.
I've had
gravy.
Mexican pizza, but I don't remember.
Yeah,
now
like
I remember the white gravy on the sausage. You had the sausage mixed in the white gravy.
Yeah,
with the biscuit on the side. Yeah,
not at my school.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, we was there at different times,
but that's okay.
I mean, I think before, wow. So
already, huh?
School breakfast used to consist of like grits, some type of sausage, like a biscuit. And I guess because the meals were too hearty or too heavy, maybe they felt for students, they've moved to a more sugary based diet for students.
Listen.
So I know my position at the school where we taught was I had a breakfast position in the hallway. And I remember one day I asked one of the students, I'm like, what is in this bag that you all have? And it was Pop-Tart, granola, little graham crackers, and Capri Sun. So I said, okay, well, just let me see it, So I'm looking at the back and I'm reading the ingredients on the back. And it was full of sugar. The carbs were really high. And most of their breakfast now is processed.
Yeah. All of it
is processed.
Nutrition is what they call it.
So when I was looking, because we talked about whether we were going to talk about this, and I said, okay. So I started digging, and the sodium alone in it in the breakfast is literally half for breakfast. The sodium levels in the breakfast that is being served is half of what you would give, half the daily value for a full blown adult, like. Based on, USDA and CDC. So we know that's true. Their breakfast, so there's caps. So the USDA has limits that they set. And then the CDC has like guidelines. And there's actually like these different buckets and you can pull it up. Because when I was sharing, I think I was sending you guys stuff and I know y'all probably like, oh my God. But it was really crazy to see what is allowed to be served. And I actually started going to like different counties, different districts and just pulling up like, let me see what's on this menu. Absolutely atrocious.
Well, that goes back to the scientific nutrition. Long as you have, that's why they're in the packages. Long as you have a few, I can get a pencil and sprinkle some nice ingredients on it of things that I supposed to have. You can serve it. That's what scientific nutrition is. That's what's in the packages, and that's what's being served to our kids.
It's ridiculous.
There was I think it's called the School Lunch Act that Harry Truman signed, and I believe it was, I don't know if I'm getting my dates right, 1946.
That's not,
So, I mean, since then, the government always sets up how they want education to go, how they want school nutrition to go. So it's a group of people that decide, okay, this is what all children need. But at the end of the day, we know that there are certain things that are specific to different groups of children.
Right.
Yes.
And it's what's the quickest to produce. Processed food doesn't cost that much to make.
Exactly.
Right.
Fresh fruits and vegetables are more expensive, especially if it's organic. So if you are in a public school situation, this kind of spills over into education. It's not really to develop the entire child. It's whatever is the quickest for large amounts of students at one time.
Yeah. So
well, let's get into school lunches that you brought up that history. School lunches was designed back in the day for, a lot of wealthier people looked at it as welfare. And so they stopped contributing to school lunches. And so when you're taking money from it, no one's putting money in.
Yep.
Hey, these are where, my kids are not going to eat it because it's considered to be welfare children. And, back in those times, you're talking about the 60s, the 70s. The welfare student was the black child.
Yeah.
And so then you have the Ronald Reagan administration. They come in and they cut funding.
Yep.
So you voted for him back in that time. And if you're a Ronald Reagan fan, you have him to thank for when we talk about cutting funding for school lunches. He was a big part of that.
Yeah. So it's like one of the things that I was looking at is the budget. What does it cost to feed a child? And what are they looking at? And so USDA gives guidance on how schools can save money with lunches, with providing nutrition, right? But they don't tell them what to do. And there were two big things that came out of that. Was one, whenever we look at the education budget, and we can talk about like the overall issues with education funding in a different episode, but what's happening is there's this one bucket of money and then a little piece of that gets funneled into nutrition, but then like federally, then states get to decide at the state level how they spend their federal money for students. So think about, you already get regular funding the U.S. the federal government gives a certain amount of money to the states for their publicly funded education, and then you have Title I funds, which is separate from that.
Right.
But part of Title I funds does kind of help support students that get like free reduced lunch on those programs. That's a federal program. But then the schools are then told, but we're going to give you some parameters, and then everything else you can kind of decide on your own. So like schools have autonomy, or districts themselves, like within the state. So like in Georgia, the school districts in Georgia have autonomy over where they get their school lunches from. So they can choose it.
Federally, there's no longer in-house. Food is not in-house. They're outsourcing it. And that's why you're getting this package of food.
Yeah.
Because
you're getting the cheapest stuff.
If you go inside the school lunchroom where they make the food, you can see they're not equipped to make good food.
Absolutely not.
So the stuff is being outsourced. And so that's why, they're probably passing all these great inspections, because Georgia has to be inspected twice a year if you're, a restaurant or a food place in general. Where Alabama, our neighbor state, they get checked 3 times a year. So, again, they're outsourcing the food.
Yeah.
The lunch ladies ain't making...
they arms ain't big no more. They ain't got an arm meat no more.
No. They never mind. Some of them do. Some of them do have. Okay, so you're saying that if you have the arm, this is what you said now.
The arm means you make good food. Everybody I know can cook, they got that piece right there. So you see, I ain't got no piece. That's how you know that I don't be cooking nothing.
And the food should be free, because let's keep it funky. These lunch ladies are running you down for this bad lunch. I was at school. And the children, they ain't want to eat the lunch. Food bad.
No, they don't like the lunch.
They don't like the lunch. So, if you, some teachers don't eat free. I don't know.
No teachers eat free.
Okay.
None of us would eat free.
Okay. Well, the schools that we've been at, teachers do not eat free. And so let's say a teacher forgets her lunch or what have you, don't have time to run out.
Can't run out.
Gotta check in. Well, I had a student to give me their lunch, and the lunchroom, whatever must have been looking at the student or seen me where the lunch lady wasn't looking at the student. All they seen that I had a lunch and I didn't come in line for the lunch. They come to the table trying to check me for that bad lunch.
Oh yeah, they're because
lady,
because they have to account for all the
every
food. They have to
meal.
account for all the food that is that leaves out of the cafeteria. Correct. They have to account for the food that comes in.
Yes.
So the lunch is awful. Yes, the breakfast is awful, but it's about money. Yes. So
well, they're not getting money. Well,
but the thing is,
their budget's small. You can tell about it
is very small, but they have
chicken.
To account for.
You can tell about the dry chicken.
The chicken is dry.
It is dry.
It is dry.
My daughter decided in kindergarten that she was not going to eat school lunch.
In kindergarten,
yes.
5 years old, she decided that she would.
My neighbor having the same issue.
I mean, it wasn't. But, at that time we were dealing with a lot of allergies as well.
Okay. Yeah,
and we were dealing with her grandparents. She was a Chick-fil-A baby, so she would get lunch brought to her to the school. So I'm tasting this and I'm tasting the school lunch. I never forget. I went to Mommy and Muffin Day.
Oh, it was Mommy and Muffin Day.
Mommy
that's
and Muffin.
really cute.
Donuts now too. They do dads and
we
donuts
eat
with
lunch.
that. And
I was just.
You had the lunch.
I went to have lunch with her, but
y'all didn't eat nothing.
No, we didn't.
Y'all just sat there looking cute.
She did not eat lunch. This carried on all the way up to her 12th grade year.
Mine don't eat.
She did not eat school lunch. Now, some kids have to because this is
all they get.
This is all they're going to get.
I'm so glad you brought up
that.
This
is all they're going to get. You have Muslim children out here eating fake chicken, going against their morals with pork. Because this processed food, you're putting everything in it. So you got Muslim kids that are having to go against their religion because this might be the only food source that they eat for today.
Well, and see, to kind of go back off of that, you're talking about a society of people or a population of people who breakfast and lunch, those sometimes are the only times that they eat.
Yes.
They're not going to get a dinner. So when you're looking at how do we feed this section of society? Well, I'm not going to give them organic food. Well, let's just process the food. It really tells you the ideology of people who are setting up these meals for children. Every single human being should be able to have clean water and healthy food. So going back to the breakfast, donuts, that is not breakfast. Because the minute that a child ingests any type of sugary breakfast or food, it sends their brain into overdrive. Yeah. Their pancreas is taxed. Automatically, it begins to start making these enzymes. And now you have a child that is high off of sugar. The brain doesn't know what to do with it. And that goes back to how does diet affect the integrity of a child? What does it do to the behavior of a child, especially if a child has any type of ADHD or any type of autism? How does that affect the child? Children need to have fruits and vegetables in the morning. No, you can't tell a parent how to give a child food or what type of meals that they should have, but it definitely impacts how the brain processes the food. How does the body process food? And there was a study that came out not too long ago that was talking about how sugar is very much linked to being a drug for a child. And when they don't have those types of drugs, now your body is going into withdrawal mode. So it's all type of physiological things that happens with the child when they're just eating donuts in the morning.
When I had both my kids, I remember, I don't know, you might even remember this too. One of the classes was like I did too, but we talked about their nutrition as a baby. And one of the things they tell you is don't give them sugar, don't give them sweets, don't give them sugars, as infants. So I breastfed both kids, but even as they got older, the idea was breastfeed them as long as I could. Right? That was the first thing. But no sugars, no sweets, because for that very reason that it's just not necessary for them.
So do you think parents know what type of foods their children are eating, or is it that they're so busy they don't ask?
They don't ask.
They don't ask.
I'm
glad that's
a parent,
right.
I didn't ask.
I didn't either.
So I didn't have to ask. My daughter was there, so she made the decision, hey, this is not what I'm going to eat. And my question to her was, you need to eat. You need to eat something. I even tried to make, I would make her pack a lunch. You need to have some type of meal on your stomach. And I'm like, you're eating free, because at that time, there was a way, she started eating free lunch. And I was like, it's free. She was like, I don't care. I'm not eating
That's
it.
Everything comes with the cost. Even if something is free, you're kind of thinking, as a parent, you send your kid to school to get some type of nutritious meal. But if it's free, it's not going to be the best meal. It's going to be the bottom of the barrel meal.
They said Michelle Obama did the best healthy campaign within the last 30 years. That's sad.
And the kid's still not eating it, though. My son, he a garbage can. He don't care. But my daughter, absolutely come home hungry. She would rather starve. But that's what I was going to say. Is a lot of kids
just don't eat.
But think about what they're saying. Even your daughter saying, this is nasty. No. Until I stopped and really looked, until Joya, and that's sad to say, even for me as a parent. I don't have a problem making my kids breakfast in the morning, sending them off to school. You know what I'm saying? That's not an issue. Packing their lunches when that's what they want to do, whatever. But even as for me, when you mention this, we've talked about these before, but not into this. I really read the stuff, and I'm looking at what the government, right? This government's federal agency is saying is okay for my kids to eat. I would never again after last night would my kids eat like that.
Because they're your kids. They're not their kids aren't eating that.
Correct. I don't want my kids eating that crap. That's trash. But it's literally, you can't, it's so bad. Oh, it's so bad.
Go ahead, Ty.
Don't worry about it.
Go ahead, Ty.
Okay. That was a school. You got it all out?
It really upset me. And this is why. Because I think about the kids who this is all I'm saying. The kids who don't have that option at home.
Yeah.
Right? So beyond my kids, the kids who don't have that option at home, that's all they get. They don't eat on the weekends. They ain't eating dinner. So now my only meal choice is the garbage meal that someone else refuses and won't even eat.
Because you are not an important, this is what some people believe, you're not an asset to society.
There it is.
It doesn't matter if a person is making a certain amount of money. Everyone, again, should have the option. You shouldn't have to drive an hour to a grocery store to get sustainable food.
Yeah.
Well, Joy, let me ask you this, because I know you came out of high school long,
Wait a minute.
Earlier, how can I put it? A little later in life than I did. Okay. So when I was in school, I don't remember lunch being a big deal. I don't remember me coming home and my grandmother or my mama asking me how was lunch at school. What did you eat? I just don't remember having this conversation. Now I come from a time, food was whatever we cooked. That's what you ate. We was heavy on the pork chops. We was heavy on the cream corn. And it was only when I started moving, when I moved to Atlanta in my older life, I started trying to change the way that I eat, like cutting out some meats like pork and stuff. My mom thought I was a Muslim. So and I remember mentioning to my auntie, when I would go home, there was no more pork bacon in my breakfast anymore, or there was I didn't maybe want to have cheese in my eggs. And so the response that I got from my aunties was, this food didn't kill you when you was growing up. So, but I think that, the food is now. So again, I just don't recall having these conversations about lunchroom food, because we ate.
We did.
We was gonna get that
better.
pizza.
We
Food
did.
was better then.
We was gonna get that pizza.
They wasn't trying.
Pizza, the small French fries.
Oh yeah. Oh, the string fry. Oh girl.
The little,
yes.
like, that little dipping salt, the little ranch dress. Well, we had the little squeeze.
We ain't had no dipping.
We had the
That's
we
what
had
I
the
say.
ranch dip,
Okay.
but it was
That's what
good.
they're telling your age because we ain't had that.
Oh, well, we had
had no
that. It
dip.
was good.
We ain't had no dipping sauce.
We had the dip.
I mean,
Dip sauce was good.
you know, back when I was in school, yes, we had the what did you call it? The fried chicken,
Yeah, it was
the
good.
little scoop of macaroni and
And it
cheese,
was
or
homemade.
the pizza, the hot wings. Like we
Hold on, y'all
nachos.
had hot wings?
Yeah, we had hot wings,
Okay,
the
so
little
she
French
asked me clearly
fries.
because we ain't had no hot
So this was before Michelle Obama kind of revamped
Do you
health.
think she did a good job with the revamp?
I think she added more vegetables. I think so. I don't remember.
Okay.
Probably not. I don't know. But she attempted to add more fruits and vegetables,
Uh-huh.
more
She
fiber, more of those minerals like
Yeah.
iron and selenium.
That's in
Those
there.
things that children need when they're young.
Mhm.
But you know, when I was in school, my parents wouldn't ask me, you know, what did you have for lunch? Or sometimes, you know, they would pack a lunch for me.
Yeah.
But nutrition and the knowledge of nutrition is different, huh?
You came from the suburbs.
What you trying to? You didn't come from the suburb?
Pack a lunch.
Yeah, we
My
packed
grandma
lunch.
pack a lunch.
Yeah, before she leave out the house.
Yeah.
And make breakfast in the morning.
No. You got a lunch bag?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
okay.
my breakfast cooked if I wanted it.
We
Yeah, I had breakfast in the morning.
You
for
can ask my kid.
lunch.
That's
But I
I'm
think
sorry to cut you off.
no,
but-
that's all right.
Yeah, I didn't get a lunch bag, but that's okay.
you
We had
pack her
lunch
a
boxes, but
Yeah, you put in the little lunch box. You have like your little fruit, your
G.I. Joe and them and all that along the lunch box. I remember that. I just didn't get a lunch pack.
Oh,
you.
thanks,
want-
Mom.
How do you feel? We'll unpack those feelings
We
later.
will. Sounds like we have a therapy episode coming
Yeah, I
up.
feel like we do. So did you all want to see some lunches from around the world?
Yes, because I feel like them lunches I used to have in Europe was great.
Well, that's before you. Yeah, let's
Well-
show the picture. But I wanted to bring up
Okay, yes.
like there are a lot of students taking action about
Mm-hmm.
their stance on food. There was a
Yes.
school in Minnesota.
Mhm.
They formed a group and they started like students are really putting food on YouTube and rating them.
Good.
So
I love it.
Know
Oh, it's fun,
that
too.
lunchroom ladies, your food is getting rated.
It's not the lunchroom ladies.
I mean, but that's
it's y'all
that's the
government.
first person
But
of
that's
contact,
yeah.
you know. But but the kids nowadays, they are, you know, they're way more
Oh yeah.
when
Love
it
it.
call into
Yeah.
action
I
than
love
I
it.
was when we
Yes.
were in school, and so they are standing up
Mhm.
out there in Minnesota against. I mean, some of the food they was showing.
Yeah, because
Awful.
it's causing
Yeah.
all types of issues for kids. Kids 20 years from now, boys having issues with their reproductive system,
Yeah.
can't figure out why they have erectile dysfunction at 25.
Yeah.
Young girls having
Having heart
issues
attacks,
with
yeah.
PCOS and fibroids at 25.
Yeah.
Is it? That's a whole nother episode. You don't want me getting into that.
Yes, we do.
We need to get
next
into it.
episode. Next
You want me to get
episode.
into
With
I will say
mental
this too.
cycle starting at 5 years old.
No, like it's a real
It is,
issue.
I believe that. I just can't believe it's 5. Yes.
And there are certain ingredients that are banned in other countries.
Yes.
The dyes, red 40, blue number.
Was a blue lake? No, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Potato chip don't taste the same.
No.
No, it does not.
In Africa that it do
Mm-mm.
here.
No, it doesn't.
I was like,
Ain't that
yeah, that's the
crazy?
food that I know. Let me get these laid.
And
Nope.
it tastes completely different.
Because it's real. Because it's a real potato chip.
I would
It ain't pressed paper.
listen. When I lived in Paris, I went to a McDonald's with some friends after school, and I ordered a salad. And so I look in the bag, and it's this little ounce of like oil, like a little vinaigrette. It had 4 ingredients: lemon, salt, water, and olive oil. So I go back up to the lunch counter. I mean the counter. I said, "Ma'am, could I, in my broken French, could I have some ranch?" And she said, "Cette vinaigrette est tout avons nous." Meaning, like, this is the only vinaigrette we got. Like, there is no ranch dressing here in France. This is what we give our citizens because we understand that nutrition and portion size is very important.
I guarantee if you look at the health issues
They're not
in
playing.
other places and you look at them here, we are not having the same argument.
They're not playing with
already know
health
it.
over
No.
there. Their
And they both
citizens
live
come
in.
first.
Yes.
Their nutrition it doesn't matter what your status of living is. Nutrition is healthy for everyone.
Yeah.
So,
Because your money don't keep you healthy.
well,
But I will say, this is just one more area, as you pull it up, this is just one more area where when we talk about voting and what your vote does and who you're putting in office, this is just one more place where that plays a role. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because when we're looking at our elected officials and then we talking about these lunches look like, because the kids, when we was in there, was calling them paper nuggets. That was the joke.
But I'm going to say one more thing before we get into our first picture. We have to begin to have communities within our own groups of cultures. I'll just put it like that without going too much into it. Nobody's going to come and save us.
No.
The government's not going to do it. We've waited this entire time and nothing has ever changed. Right. We have to decide within our group, this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to do it. Yeah. Nobody's coming to save us at all.
Mm-hmm. Because we need superfoods.
Yeah.
To help our kids. And if you don't know what superfoods are, then you need to look them up because they play a role in autism. They play a role in, just everything. Our kids learning. Mm-hmm. So make sure your kids are getting some superfood. Don't, like Joy said, don't be dependent on your government to come save you.
That's it right there. Absolutely.
Well, this looks appetizing. This is our first picture.
Never seen that a day in my life.
Nikki, describe what you see.
Paper nugget.
No, come on now.
Oh, well, they're supposed to be chicken nuggets because that's what we called them.
Paper nuggets?
Yeah, because when you open them, this from the U.S., when you open them, when you cut them.
You open up.
When the kids
First of all, your nuggets come in a pack?
No. When you take the nugget, they could peel the layers of chicken apart like paper, like a pack of paper. That's how the kids named them at school, paper nuggets. It wasn't a me thing. The kids said, no, this is paper nuggets.
Oh, okay.
It looked like a dry chocolate chip cookie. Some pineapples. What is that? Diced peaches or pineapples in a little sauce.
You got your vegetables.
That's your dessert.
You got your meat.
And some peas. Look like came from a can, and some mashed potatoes.
So you have double dessert because fruit
is a dessert.
Technically.
Yes,
fruit technically is a dessert because it's high in sugar.
Now, the USDA didn't say nothing about needing that cookie or those mashed potatoes.
Tell you about fruit because fruit is actually good for us.
Yeah, it's good. It's good sugar. Like your body can break down sugar, so you don't need the
the white sugar.
Right.
So the cookie is the overboard.
Yes. Thank you for clearing that up, Ty. That's what I meant. Mm-hmm. Y'all want to go to the next picture?
Yeah, because I'm still
those mashed potatoes are seasoned.
No, they don't even look like there's a piece of pepper in there or butter.
And we can get heavy with the seasons too as in the black community. So
well, it probably came out the box. The big Idaho potato box.
But are we saying that seasons are herbs?
Spices and herbs. We can call them that.
Yeah. Okay.
The flavor, because them look tasteless. And I still don't think those are box potatoes for sure.
So they ain't take the potato and ball it.
Nah, ain't no way.
They don't have time.
They ain't got time.
They would have to come to school like 2 days ago.
They don't have a real cooking cafeteria.
No, they don't have time.
Let's go to the next one. This is Greece. So I guess I can describe this one. So we have some yogurt with some pomegranate seeds.
That looks great.
Yeah, because it has the probiotics, the healthy bacteria that your gut needs, and your gut.
The one come in the container that
No,
not the go.
This is probably like the Greek yogurt because the yogurt is there's a gut and brain connection. So when your gut is in order, your brain is in order too. We have looks like some clementines.
Those look good.
Yeah, they're like little oranges, fresh off the tree, still has the leaves. On them, It looks like some rice, some type of chicken that doesn't have the hormones in it. I'm sure because hormones are banned in
Greece. Yeah, that doesn't even look like paper. That look like a real piece of. That's a real piece of chicken.
And some rice. It's like a little fruit salad.
And if you notice, like a lot of they're American now, but a lot of foreigners, they don't eat out like Americans.
No, they don't.
No, I have a Greek friend, and I just don't recall her just going like all of her meals are at home. I don't recall her going out eating.
I mean, you've lived in Nigeria. You know when you get back to the U.S. how you feel afterwards. You can eat. I bet you could eat all day, every day.
I wouldn't say all that.
Okay, but you're not good.
Because real picky. Well, I used to be.
But you're gonna the food is gonna be
better.
The food is a lot better because they don't fry
fresh.
Food. They don't do fresh.
And they got grape leaves and a salad on there too.
Nigerians.
That's what I was gonna say. Those are grape leaves, right?
So those are grape leaves. That looks great. And grape leaves are good. Okay, now I would throw down on this right here now. Is that plantain? Oh, girl, yes. That's the plantains,
That's
too.
a nice plate.
Oh, yeah.
So this is Brazil.
Oh,
The
yeah.
rice.
I need to move.
Is
Got to go to
is
Brazil.
that black beans?
Yes, it is,
Yep.
girl, on the rice.
Rice, black beans.
That's good.
That might be pork. It
That's
looks
fine. If it's
some type
Brazil, I would
probably
definitely, I'm
pork.
sure it's pork.
Yeah, they big on the pork.
But
that
the
looks
salad
good.
looks like a kale salad
And
with
that's a whole
wheat
grain
roll.
roll. Yeah.
That's a lunch.
That's a lunch.
girl. That looks like my
Lunch.
dinner.
That's a
Yeah.
school lunch in Brazil.
That thing look good to me. You can serve that to me right now. I eat it. For real.
This is South Korea.
Oh, no.
So on the left is the kimchi. Kimchi is
I do
also
like
good
kimchi.
for probiotics. That's really, really big
That fermented
in
cabbage is so good.
Asia, which has blue zones. So blue zones are places where people live to 100 and over.
Mm-hmm.
So they're really big on kimchi. It's a lot of vegetables. Looks like tofu and rice.
So kimchi, I need to go get me some. I'm
Kimchi is
100
really
years
good.
old.
It is very good.
Well, it doesn't help you to live until you're 100 years old. This is just a part of their diet. And the last one is Spain.
Yeah, that's my side of the door. I like that. I got that orange slice, half the orange. Got us some. Is that yellow?
Spain, right?
Though I did go there, but I like European foods. The tomato basil soup. Yeah. The shrimp. Yup, with the rice. Is that rice? Yep. Whole grain roll and the pepper salad with is that spinach in there?
Mm-hmm.
That looks good. I
There
can
are
eat
a lot
that.
of African countries that they still farm. Like farming is a really, really big part of their culture. So the kids over there are eating well as well.
Yeah, they catching
Yeah.
chickens and doing it the right way.
Doing it the right way with
Killing
respect.
Yeah.
Not just butchering the animal. They do it with respect. They pray over the animal because essentially what you're eating is supposed to be giving you nourishment. So you want to, I know in America, most of us don't have farms. We get our food from, these companies. So,
Yeah. But I think
I
even
went over there, so they didn't have where I was. The person didn't. A friend of mine. They didn't know how to cook French fries, so they did the potatoes,
yeah.
old fashioned way.
That's
It
how
reminded
they
me
do
so much of my grandmother, honestly, because a lot of things that they did, she would do. So, yeah, we have just, I think, have started eating really bad because we're just not making time.
Yeah.
And I think we need to get back to that as a source of what we can do better in improving our school lunches. I think we really need to take time and create meaningful meals for school.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why a lot of the new businesses like the Hello Fresh and the meal deliveries where they're starting to give you, what's the other one, like the oddballs where they give you the fruit and vegetables that the grocery stores don't think are pretty enough, but they're still
the ugly fruits.
Yeah, the ugly fruits and vegetables,
Yeah.
which I think again the idea is, and I agree with you, is we can get back to the basics and start to really think about how we're eating and what we're eating. And I think that there's a lot of value in that. And we've talked before about how, it really does start with like what you're ingesting it does impact everything else and teaching our kids how to eat better. Cause right now we're just not. And I feel like it just gets worse with every generation.
So what are some final thoughts, some solutions? Well, we'll just go this way.
So if, like we spoke about, if, don't look for anyone to save your kids. So if the lunchroom is not going to improve, maybe you need to, look at, providing a lunch for your child.
Mm-hmm.
I know that tends to be a little bit more expensive, a little bit more time consuming, but that's what I mentioned earlier. Let's, take time, so we can provide our students with good meals throughout the day for them.
Yeah. I second that. Make your kids lunches or let them even participate in making the lunch. Like let them share in that responsibility so they know what a good, healthy meal looks like. And And it just teaches them and it solidifies that. But also, if you're going to have your child eat at school, know what they're eating and just get involved. Like the nutrition calendars, I didn't have to log into a single website to find out what the USDA says, to find out what the CDC says, and to find out what my local district where my kids go and several other districts, what they're serving our kids literally for a month, 2 months in advance. Like they tell you everything that you want to know and where the food is sourced. So you have the right to say something. And if you don't like it, that's when you go to your school board. Like make your voice heard if it's something that's going to impact your student, because that's your tomorrow, you know? So think about what you're putting in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you all pretty much said everything. But I think if parents don't know exactly what to get their kids, fruits and vegetables, water, like the kids are drinking out of the water fountain. Is not the great source. Look, we got Zoe. It's not that great.
Not to know.
If you can get water bottles, preferably spring water, which is great for the human body. Some type of even yogurt, plain yogurt without all the sugar in it is great. Because these things impact a child's development. It impacts their behavior. Yeah. And it also begins a pattern for how they consume food as an adult. Yes. And if you don't start now, they're going to pay for it later. So yeah, I'm not going to get too much into the health stuff. That I'll be here all day. So
we will do an episode on health.
Yeah.
But we want to thank you guys for listening in and checking us out on YouTube, or if you're viewing on YouTube. If you're not, make sure you go and subscribe so you won't miss any of this. We're on all social media platforms. And that's it. We're out of here. Bye.
We got the queens in the house, y'all. We got the queens in the house, y'all.